The German Chancellor, Angela Merkel, has announced that she will not seek another term as chairwoman of the centre-right Christian Democratic Union Party and will step down as Chancellor in 2021.
Well, joining us with that story and everything else this morning is Ellen Gunning, Director of the Irish Academy of Public Relations. Good morning to you, Ellen.
Good morning.
It was interesting watching her press conference yesterday. It was all quite low-key. I think it actually was quite unexpected, wasn't it? But she has been coming under pressure for some time now, given the results in a lot of those regional elections.
I think she was probably surprised by this most recent election. If you look back only a couple of weeks, the CSU in Bavaria had actually lost for the first time since the 1950s, 1957 or something. They had lost control of the state parliament. But they lost to the AfD, who are on the extreme right, and they lost to the Greens on the left. OK, so they're gaining. But actually, the Bavarians had been moving, the CSU had been moving very much towards the AfD side. So I don't think she saw it as a real red light warning. I think she thought, OK, they tried to steal the Emperor's clothes. It didn't quite work. They paid a price for it. I'm not all that bothered. And then comes Sunday and Hess, and both herself and the CDU lost about 11%. Her partners in government lost about 10%. And I think at that stage she said the writing is on the wall.
And it was interesting where the votes went, because I think a lot of people will expect that it was the issue with refugees, and I suppose what would be quite a noble, I suppose, move by Angela Merkel to invite refugees and to take refugees into Germany at the time, although some might now look at that and say it was quite foolish. But the vote actually went towards pro-migrant parties, actually, and not the anti-migrant parties. So it was more personal to Angela Merkel herself rather than that issue. And I wondered, did that actually make her think, OK, maybe it's me, maybe I need to move here? And
yet I think the migrant issue is at the heart of it. She actually said at one stage that if she could, she'd go back a number of years. She wouldn't change her, what really was an open door policy, that Germany would take in any immigrants that they could. She wouldn't change the policy, but she would change the way that she prepared the German people to accept the policy. She'd have managed it better, exactly.
OK. Obviously, she's been the dominant politician in European politics for the last, nearly 14 years now, a colossal figure. Her legacy, probably, we can't do a post-mortem or an autopsy on it now. We won't know for quite some time. But there are some immediate problems, i.e. the state of the EU, and whether the centre can hold. And I don't mean that in terms of far left and far right. I'm talking about the whole centrist European project, because we're thinking about Brexit, but they're also thinking about Italy. And you know the old thing of, oh, they're too big to fail. Well, Italy isn't too big to fail. It's huge, and it can fail because of how badly it's run. So there's a major problem. There's big stuff coming up down the track for us. And maybe Brexit won't be as high up the agenda as we think it should be.
I don't think Brexit will be. And I think the real issue for Europe is, I think her legacy, if you like, will be that she became the one woman, the go-to European leader. So she really controlled. She was the woman who said, this is European fiscal policy. She was the one who said, my foot is on your neck. This is how everybody pays back the money. No bailouts. She was the woman who said, this is what we do with immigration. I think her legacy and the hole that she will leave is that the other leaders were quite happy to allow her steer the ship. Now she won't be steering the ship. And I presume as of today, she has much less interest in what happens. I found her decision, actually, just as a by-the-by, to announce that she was standing down as leader in December and standing down as Chancellor at the end of her term in 2021. I found that incredible. Standing down as leader in December, yes, do it now. Standing down as Chancellor, here are the knives.
That's not going to fly, Ellen, because any time a political leader says time is up, then the vultures come in and blood's in the water, and then it'll be over.
I was listening to an interview yesterday, and it was a person from Germany living in Ireland, and they said, look, yes, that would happen in Ireland, that would happen in the UK, that would happen in the US. You don't get the opportunity to announce I'm leaving in 3 years' time, and everybody stands back and lets you leave accordingly. Germany, they quite like that. They want somebody to be afforded the time and the space to leave the way they want to leave. They don't appreciate the vultures coming in. They won't want her to be seen as a lame duck. They have quite a different attitude to how we would approach it here in Ireland.
It's very interesting, because if I was in Germany, I'd be saying, you've given me the knife, now I'll sharpen it and take 3 years to stab you in the back. I don't think so. They may do it differently in Germany. She won't get to 2021.
Okay, right, moving on.
let's move on to Mr. Casey. Obviously, look, we have to bear in mind that Michael D. Higgins romped home. It was by any stretch of the imagination, it was a phenomenal victory.
Incredible result.
In terms of the percent she got. But the focus is on number 2, Peter Casey. Nobody in their wildest dreams expected he would get 300,000 people, 20-odd% of the vote. He now seems to have let that go to his head, and he's getting notions about himself. I'm sorry, well, he is. I mean, he wants to start up a political party. He should take a look at our recent history in terms of new political parties. But he obviously believes that he can do it. Well, Fianna Fail don't want me, Fine Gael don't want me, I'll set up on my own.
I loved, like you, I thought, Renua, Declan Ganley, setting up your own political party, not very easy. New Fianna Fail, mind you, he's in Donegal, and wasn't that where Neil Blaney ran as the alternative Fianna Fail or the independent Fianna Fail? But it was just him, it was nobody else. I think Casey's a fascinating character altogether. I love the fact that he said, Fianna Fail said, you know, he just wanted to join Fianna Fail as you would and become Taoiseach as you would. But I think
you have to have ambition, Ellen. You have to play your ambition.
I don't know. I quite like the way he just called it. It is totally non-political, but he called it out. What really surprised me was the Fianna Fail reaction. The Fianna Fail said they had no room for him. He needed to change his policies. He wasn't welcome to join, basically. I thought it was the most incredibly foolish decision. This is a man that you, as you pointed out, got 300,000 votes.
Almost 1 in 4 of everybody who voted in this country in the election, and there wasn't a huge turnout. A huge turnout, but almost 1 in 4 of those who did turn out to vote Peter Casey. Can the political parties just ignore 300,000 members of the electorate who are clearly, I would say, completely disenfranchised with what's been offered by politics at the moment?
They're crazy if they do. Micheál Martin said that Peter Casey doesn't have fully formulated ideas on politics. Very few people going into politics have. I think they should have brought him in and tried to figure out what was the pulse that he had a finger on. That 300,000 people, half the votes that Michael D. Higgins got went to Peter Casey. If you think of it, Michael D. Higgins got a huge vote. Half that number again voted for Casey. He represents some kind of disenfranchisement in Irish politics.
Yeah, I can't see the difficulty, I have to say, for Fianna Fail and Micheál Martin in bringing him in. Because can you imagine what the opposition parties would call Fianna Fail if you were seen to invite somebody who's been called a racist and a bigot into your party in the last couple of weeks, notwithstanding what the vote was? And it is difficult for them.
It's difficult for them, but I don't think he is a racist. I think he suffers from a certain amount of verbal diarrhoea. I think he loves to talk, and if you put a microphone in front of him, he probably won't stop. But that's something he will probably learn in time. I think he has a lot to contribute. I think if I was Fianna Fail, I'd be more worried keeping him outside the tent than having him inside.
Yeah,
right. Winter is coming, and we know what comes with winter. Trolley crisis, and the extraordinary thing is that we know this happens every year, and still we can't cope. Why? Why do we keep still doing the same things and getting the same results, Ellen? They reckon that the trolley crisis will hit. I mean, what's the highest figure at the moment? 600, nearly 700 we've had, but they reckon that it will go to 1,000 before Christmas.
Yeah, they're saying it's a perfect storm. Why is it the perfect storm this year?
Do you know what? It's doing who was it who said that if you keep doing the same things over and over again and expecting a different result, you're a prize first-class idiot.
And stupidity.
And this is what we keep doing. We know there will be winter every year. We know there will be flus every year. We know old people and the very vulnerable with chest complaints will all head to hospitals. And yet there's nothing, nobody has ever been able to put a system in place that says the peak is during these 3 or 4 months. This is when we must have capacity. I really don't understand it. We keep putting more and more money into the health service. Is it that the health service is so broken that it just can't be fixed and you need to start again from scratch? But who has the luxury of the time? I don't know how they actually resolve it, but it doesn't make sense that wards are closed, that they keep employing more people, that they keep putting more money into it.
And that we don't seem to be getting the results.
And we're going in the wrong direction, from 700 people on trolleys in March to 1,000 in December. It ain't good.
OK, Ellen, thank you for that. Plenty more to come on the programme. We will be back after the short break.